Hi guys, and welcome to Tips from my garden shed. I decided to put this little series together to help you guys with hints and tips that I use on the bank to help me catch extra fish. These are tricks and tips you can either do at home before you leave or whilst you're on the bank. They definitely help me along the way, and I'm hoping by sharing some of these with you guys it'll help you put an extra fish or two on the bank. This week I want to talk about liquids, and specifically adding liquids to pellets. Pellets are a great carrier of liquids. They're like a sponge, they absorb them, suck them in. You can coat them, let them suck it in, and then do that several times and they will carry a lot of liquids. And I like to use this to customise my bait, my liquids, and to do certain things with the swims. Like I do a lot of tank tests. I've got a tank over here. I do a lot of tank tests, and certain liquids have different densities, and depending on what you want to achieve, you can add different liquids to help you achieve that feeding situation. If the fish are up in the water, you can use oils and light liquids that will float up into the water and drag them down. Or if you want to keep the fish feeding on the bottom, you've got nice low pressure, great weather conditions. Want to keep the fish on the deck feeding, you're looking for them heavy liquids. Plus it helps colour your pellets. It's just a great edge, and I'll go into how I do that, and we'll do a few tank tests later on and stuff like that, and I'll give you a close-up of all these pellets. I've got some pellets here, I've got some plain pellets. I'll show you them plain and how they work on their own. It's not rocket science, most people know how that works. And then I've got some with hydro shrimp on, some with hydro fish on, and then some with the liquid food complex, the FSB, which is probably one of the best liquids I've ever used. Unbelievable, phenomenal liquid. And then I'll do some tank tests with the liquids and show you how the liquids work and stuff like that. It's just hope these tips help you, and it will help put more fish on the bank for you, and hope this little series helps. So for now, welcome to my garden shed, and then we'll get on, crack on, do a little bit of bait, do some tests and see how it goes. Cheers guys. Right guys, here we are up at the bench, nice close up of the pellets. This is our standard pellet we do at Spar Baits. Nice light mix, lots of different sizes and types of pellet in there, catches lots of fish on its own. Put it in PVA bags, spot it out, do whatever. But like I said earlier, I like to customise mine. This here has got the hydro shrimp on it. As you can see, a little bit darker than original pellet. It has darkened the mix up a little bit. It will also make the pellets heavier, which helps them break that surface film if you are spodding them out, and gets them to the bottom quicker. They'll break up slightly quicker as well, because obviously they are slightly softer. But unbelievable edge. As you know, carp don't like to work too hard for bait, so a nice soft bait straight out the bag is pumping out loads of attractions, liquids and flavours, smells into the water. Can't beat it. And then next up we've got our liquid fish hydro. As you can see, that's darkened it right up, it's almost black, real darkened up the mix that. And another great one if the fish are a little bit spooky. Another very heavy liquid, brilliant. But the best one, and the one I use a lot, and I use a lot of this liquid, I use it in my pellets, use it in my boilies, is the FSB liquid food complex. Unbelievable liquid that is. Just cannot stress enough how good this liquid is. It catches an awful lot of fish. Like so, I'll just go through now, basically show you what I do. Just get your plain pellets, tip it in the tub, get yourself, this is the FSB liquid food complex, get yourself some liquid, tip it straight in. You can do this in the biggest quantity or a little quantity as you want. I mean, you can make up a bucket full if you want to spot it out, or if you're just making up for PVA bags, just make up a little bit. You can make it up on the bank, give it 10 minutes to soak in, but ideally I like to do this a few days before I go, and put a little bit on, mix it up, just just coat them pellets. You just want them glazed, really, just shining. As you can see, it's starting to go on there lovely. Just want that little sheen. And then once it soaks that up, add a little bit more and just keep repeating that process. It'll keep sucking it up, keep sucking it in, and it'll just suck it straight up to the core, and then it'll be absolutely loaded with liquid, and that's the perfect way to use this. So basically that's the process. We will make up some PVA bags in a minute, chuck them in the tank, do a few tank tests, and you can have a look how these pellets work in PVA. And then I'll also show you some of the liquids. I'll just put them straight in the water, and you can have a little look and see how they react in the water on their own, see how heavy they are, how they cloud up, etc. There we go, guys. That's basically how I like to prepare my pellets. I mean, I'll do this with our spod pellets, and I'll spod them out. Very rarely I put pellets out straight out the bag. I mean, you can customise them, make them how you want, and it works time and time again. They're just a perfect carrier of liquids, pellets are. There's just no better bait, in my opinion, to get liquids into a swim and down onto the deck. I mean, like spodding out liquids, unless they're very heavy, but even if they're very heavy, any sort of undertow, anything, they just get washed away, especially over deep water. This gets them liquids down to the bottom of the lake, on the lake bed, exactly where you want them. Brilliant edge. Give it a go, guys, and you definitely won't look back. I never have. And depending on the lake, if the fish like a knotty mix, you can add knotty liquids. If a fish like fish meal, can fish eat, you can do anything. There's no limits. Sky's the limit, as they say, and it works all the time. Can put you them extra fish on the bank. Definitely works for me. So that's enough of me waffling on. I'll get the tank filled up, get some PVA bags tied up, and we'll do a few tests, and you can have a little look at that, guys. So give me a minute or two to do that, and I'll be back with you. Cheers, guys. Right, guys, got the tank full now. I'm just going to put in some normal PVA pellets in a PVA bag. Obviously there's no lead in here or rig, it's just for demonstration purposes. As you can see with the standard pellets, there's no major instant reaction. It takes a little while for the water to get into these pellets, and they give out the flavours, smells, attractions and oils, as every pellet does. But it's not a massive hit. It's not what I would call customised. It's just your standard pellets. Will catch plenty of fish. They do every day of the week. But like I said, I like to do mine slightly different. And by doing that, I believe it helps put a lot more fish on the bank. But I thought I'd just show you this to start with, and then we'll go on to the FSB. As I drop that into the tank, just letting it dissolve a little bit, because obviously they'll float with no lead or anything in. It's just to give you a general idea. As you can see, instantly there's a slight release of flavours, liquids and attractions. Obviously you can see this is a bit more of a lump. That's because the liquids and the pellets will be softened slightly, and the liquids will be slightly sticky, so it sticks together. Just gives you an idea of what happens in a PVA bag. But obviously with a lead and a rig in here, that'll break down a lot quicker. But also, that's another little tip and edge I can go into on a different day, of how you can make them pellets sticky and almost ball them in, or make them get to the bottom very quickly in deep water. But as I said, that's a tip for another day. As you can see, the pellets have held their colour well from the colour. They don't wash out at all, really. I mean, the flavour and the colouring will be right to the core, so holds the colour, which is another great edge. You've got a nice dark liquid and you've got some light pellets. You can customise them. You've got spooky fish, or they prefer a particular colour, or for whatever reason. It's another great edge. But you can see already it's starting to halo across the bottom. It's quite a cloudy liquid this. It's not too dense, but it does hug the bottom. It's quite heavy. It's a liquid I rate very, very highly. The good thing about liquids like this, they get into the bottom, they get into the silt, under the stones, into every nook and cranny, and there's lots and lots of attraction and flavour and smell in a swim, but not necessarily much food, which is great if you're looking for a quick bite or in the winter. But you can also do this tactic. You can put a lot of bait out, and you can just put a PVA bag out with this, and it'll home the fish in on that one spot and still get you a quick bite over a lot of bait. One of the main reasons for liquids though is you don't have to overfeed the fish. It's a great edge in the winter. Like I say, it's just one of them tactics that screams carp. I will fast forward this on a little bit until we get to the next bag, which will be the fish hydro. So here we are with the fish hydro. That's just going in now. As you see a bit more a solid lump, that one a bit stickier, a bit thicker, very thick liquid this one. Very heavy. Brilliant if you want it to stay tight on the deck. Like I said, knowing your liquids and knowing the density of your liquids and what they do can definitely make a massive difference and put your extra fish on the bank, because you can use the right liquids in the right conditions. I said this will start to break down now. Again, as you see, it holds its colour well. They don't really wash out too quickly. Great liquid this one if you want to really darken the mix up. You'll soon start to see that the red halo or the orange halo will start to go darker, which is the liquids coming out of the pellets with the fish hydro in. It just shows you how well these pellets suck up the liquid and how much they keep them in right to the core, and they leak them out quite slowly, which is exactly what we want them to do. Get them to the bottom, get them into the silt under the stones and just infused with everything. Get that smell and attraction out there without just washing away. That's why pellets are so good for this tactic. And as I fast forward this on again, you'll see the liquid changes a bit more. There's a bit more of a halo, there's a bit more in there. And then I'm going to wish it all up as if a fish were coming in and feeding and hitting the bottom and the tails were swirling. This is what would happen. This shows you how much is infused into the bottom, infused into them pellets, and you get this big cloud of attraction with not a lot of food content. This is when you get them fish really competing hard, feeding, going a bit loopy on days if you get them feeding right, and they can be so easy to catch. Look at the massive difference this makes compared to just having standard pellets on the bottom. Huge. And this, to me, is just perfect. I'll drop a hook bait in a minute, a bright yellow fluoro hook bait, and you'll just be able to see it through the gloom. And again, this is where people go, oh, you need to have match to hatch to catch and stuff like that. Well, in this situation, if you had the fish feeding and it was all murked up like this, I think a bright hook bait would outscore it, because it would get noticed by the fish. It's not right in their face, it's not really over bright, even though it is a bright hook bait. In this gloom, you can only just pick it out, but it's enough for the fish to home in on it and to get you that bite. That's when changing hook baits, changing hook bait colours, experimenting can get you them takes. Brilliant tactic. And that, guys, is a look at what these liquids do. I'll give you a look now in a second of what they do when I drop them in the water on their own without being in a PVA bag. First off, we got the FSB liquid. Just drop it in around the rig, and as you can see, it's quite cloudy, this liquid. It's not a very thick liquid. It really does eat into the pellet. Brilliant. in your boilie, whatever you want to infuse it with. Makes a nice cloud, but as you can see with that cloud, it's still hugging the bottom, it's still holding deep, it's still a heavy liquid, it'll still stay deep and infuse in the bottom. Brilliant liquid. It just gives you an idea of what that liquid does. And then we'll go over to the fish hydro liquid, and this total other end of the scale, very heavy, very thick, gloopy liquid. If you want a liquid to get to the bottom, stay on the bottom and really hug the bottom and stay there, it will cloud up a little bit as the fish eat, swirl around, but this is where knowing your liquids, knowing how thick they are, knowing how they behave underwater, knowing how heavy they are, will make a massive difference, because depending on where the fish are in the water column and how you want to attract them, whether you want to attract them down from the top or you want to keep them on the bottom, and if they are already on the bottom because the conditions are right, you don't want that liquid fluttering up into the mid layers and taking the fish with it. This is where knowing your liquids really pays off. But that just gives you some sort of idea, guys, of how these liquids react, how these liquids work. And it's all food for thought, it's all experimentation, but just try and think outside the box, do things a little bit different to the next angler, and it will definitely put you more fish on the bank. I hope all this information has helped, guys, and you've enjoyed the video. And for now, that's a tank test done. I'll just give you a final rundown. And well, there you are, guys. That's a little look at one of the tricks I use to catch me a few fish using liquids with pellets. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you've learned something and you'll put this into your fishing. I'll continue to do these videos and help you guys along the way. If there's anything you would like to see or like to talk about, put it in the comment section below this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. And until next time, cheers for now. Tight lines from me. Cheers, guys.